Hey people, it's Niles talking. Now I wanted to do this video because a post started circulating around Instagram, which was basically about Trump saying drug dealers need to be executed, and I found black people in support of this, and I thought it's really, really disturbing, because I said to the people in the comments, who do you think this is aimed at? Is Trump talking about the white doctors or the pharmaceutical companies who prescribe the opioids? He's not talking about sending his own people. And people keep saying, well, you shouldn't be dealing drugs. And I thought, it's really disturbing how so many black people seem to get behind this and seem to think that, only guilty people will be targeted by these laws. And it's naive at best and delusional at worst. Because I want to say this. If you've ever had any research, we all know about the RICO laws, the anti-drug laws, and how they were used to just sweep herds of black people into jail. And with the RICO laws, there's footage of Biden himself talking about how it will get people. But basically, if you're even associated with somebody committing these drug crimes, it doesn't mean that you're even guilty. You just have to be associated with them. Like, I don't know, maybe you talk to them on a regular basis. Well, then you must be guilty, and you're going to jail. And then people seem to forget these things. Like I said, these laws. And one thing I want to ask, we all see how so many black communities have cops overwhelmed with them. They seem to have more cops in them than in any other part of the society. There's all these laws designed to target black people, or these drugs, like these really harsh laws, like these drug laws, free strikes. And have you ever wondered how, despite all of that, there still is crime in the black community? It's incredible, isn't it? You'd think, with all this over-policing and all this, that all the drug dealers, all the criminals would be disappearing. It's not an accident. These laws are not really designed to keep people safe. It's just to give the pretext to target black people. I mean, again, look at Kalief Browder. He spent 3 years in jail, over stealing backpack. And he wasn't even tried for it, and never did. They just released him when the case was dismissed. 3 years of his life, and he was so traumatized he killed himself. And a lot of people who champion this is why I really don't get along with these pro-blacks, because they champion these things because you think all these laws, what's the word? I mean, I remember when there was a law passed in Kaduna State in Nigeria saying, they were going to execute, rapists or castrate them. And I thought, with all the long history of false rape accusations against black people, against black men, you'd think people would be like, no, we can't empower the law. And in Nigeria, there are people in jail for up to 5 years waiting for a trial. They haven't even been tried yet. They're in there that long. And stuff like Kalief Browder happens on the regular. And I always think how nobody thinks about the long-term consequences. When Trayvon Martin got shot, a lot of people used the fact that he had a joint of weed in his pocket to paint him as some kind of deviant who deserved to be killed. Now, weed has become legal in many states, and even before that happened, having a joint of weed has never been an executable offense. Yet people were like, well, that's right, it's totally fine to follow him home and then start shooting him. And I keep saying the myth of the exceptional black man, because so many people seem to think that they will be the lucky one, that this will only happen to the guilty. Newsflash, it seems every other week there is a story of someone being freed after being framed or being wrongly accused. I think a couple of weeks ago, there was a man who did 38 years in jail for a murder that he was wrongly accused of. And the thing is, people say, well, there wasn't DNA testing at the time. By the early 2000s, it should have been good enough that they could have tested. But they don't do it. Because as far as they're concerned, having a black man in jail is better than not having him in jail. Even, Harry Potter referenced this, when Hagrid went to Azkaban, and they said, they didn't want to let me go. And they said, but you're innocent. Do you think that matters to them? They just want someone else they can absorb the suffering and pain from. One more victim. And it's true in real life. They don't care. And it brings me to something that a video that Fogtician made, what do you call it? Black man blaming. And he says, why is it that these successful black men always look down at lower black men? Why don't they compare themselves to successful white men or Asian men and criticize them? It's because they know that their brethren will rain fire on these sackless Uncle Toms. So the only place that is okay to criticize are black men. So they go down to fug blaming. And this is another aspect of it. Yes, Dave Chappelle and his skits were way ahead of their time. That Clayton Bixby's skit where the white people are calling for that black man to be punished. And he starts saying, that's right, kill that, kill him. Bro, no matter how much you try to go along with white society, you will not become one of them. They see your blackness no matter how much you refuse to see it. And even he referenced this about, when they're scared of his police routine. He said, we used to see lots of black people murdered, and they were just sprinkles of crack on them. Yeah, I saw this in my early career, Johnson. Went into a burglary. This sad fool broke in and put pictures of his family all over the place. Crazy. Well, sprinkle some crack on him and get out. And like I said, black people need to stop backing these harsh laws. They are all designed to punish black people. They're not designed to create justice. Anyway, I think you get the picture. Like I said, a lot of black people have not learned from history. And one thing it was just a few years ago, like not even that long, when They See Us premiered, they locked up all 5 of those boys. And the only crime they had actually been really guilty of, if you could even call it that, was being in the park. That's it. And that's not a crime. But in white society's eyes, being in the same area, even roughly so, is enough evidence to lock you up. And one of them wasn't even in the park. What was his name? Corey? He just came to the station with them, and they're like, one extra. And he got the most sentence. So people really need to get out this delusional, exceptional black man thinking, oh, I'm better than them. Listen, in the eyes of the white society, it doesn't matter if you're the head of the Harvard Law Review and wear a suit and talk in proper English. To them, all it takes is like, hey, man, one bad day, and they're like, yep, I knew it. He was a drug-dealing Pookie and Ray Ray, and it was just waiting to come out. So anyway, peace, and please stop with this delusion.